we start, the state is always better armed than any one of us can be. And the state is a repository of organized violence. It will use organized violence like you saw in your university. And you'll never be able to match that. So what is the tactics of how do you engage the state? And in this year, there was evidence that even from senior people in the police stations around the Wits University, that its police were no longer being directed by the station commander, but directed from the top. And we know that. I even know people who said, listen, we got orders from the top now, smash them. And then there's evidence even from some of the students who say, the guys with envelopes of cash saying, escalate the violence. So on the other hand, you have, and there will always be, there will be these interest groups who need violence. Why do they need violence? They tie it to the bigger narrative in the world. What does violence allow us to do? Extremism. It allows terrorism, allows the state. And this goes into a much bigger debate about what Snowden has done, the surveillance state, and the role of the state in controlling society, the rise of the securocrats and the militarists. And so if you go back to that, yes, with so much dissent on so many issues within the country, there is factions within the state who want to go back to the past, the rule of a military state security apparatus. I mean, just look at the first instance of them responding as to set up an inter-ministerial committee to deal with the education. What does that say to you? You know, not even the Minister of Finance was there. It was led by security, the security cluster. They want a rule, law and order approach. Then on the other hand, you have students saying, what's the sense of negotiations? You know, therefore, non-negotiable. Demands. We're not interested in negotiations. Look at how your negotiations led us to what we are today. There's a sense of legitimacy, you've got to argue. But our generation, you know, the Mandela generation, their project for the 67 years that he spent you know, in fighting for justice was about delivering us a political, constitutional democracy. That was the project of the Mandela generation and the Sisulu. Now, if we failed because of our bad decisions to continue that project and complete it, so we address the issue of black pain, the land dispossession, the economic restructuring, it should be on our watch. We failed, not he failed. So that's where you've got to look at context. And there's nothing in that constitution, as Defang often says, that stops us from land redistribution. Nothing. Okay, there are certain things that we have to negotiate and all, but these things are not in the constitution. In fact, the parts of the constitution that are fundamentally important are second and third generation rights. The overall overriding thing is that we must do everything within our power to redress apartheid. That's the starting point, not individual rights and property rights. Address apartheid. If that's our starting point, we have all the power to do anything to change this country. That's what we need now. So, you know, if you come to the debate, you know, I think it's very important for you all as intellectuals, and intellectuals are so important in this content. That's the job we have to do. Create the popular versions of what can enrich the debate out there on the issue of the tactics we choose, on the research and the data, the international trends, located in a context. And that's your input. And so I am very much in favor of your organizing yourself, I must be honest. And to make it more representative, to bring younger people into the room, to bring people that come out of working class backgrounds so that we can talk about black pain in a more legitimate way, to bring people who understand healing into the conversation, because I think that healing part is so fundamental to us building the society we want, but to flush everything into the public, onto the table. What is white privilege? What is white monopoly capital? What is black monopoly capital? Is that a right model, or should we reject that model as well, of black economic empowerment? And if we want to reject that, what are we putting in its place? Now, I would love the next 10 years to be a vibrant debate of theory and democratic practice. I would love people like you to adopt a village. Go spend time in a village, go spend time in an informal settlement, to take the knowledge you have and the tremendous passion you have in changing lives of people, rather than just operating on social media. And if that, I think, would be, you can play an incredibly valuable role in taking the knowledge out of the libraries into the squatter camps, into our informal settlements, into the villages. That's our challenge today, and I think I look forward to working with you all in the future. And now I have to go and rush to the constituency that's going to drive this change.